Knowing how to run the ball effectively is key in becoming a better Madden player. One of the biggest components of being a better runner is understanding which run plays to call throughout a game and at what time. Today we're going to talk about the 5 runs you need to be using in Madden 25. So with that being said, let's dive right into it.
All right, guys, we got this. Let's go. Gun wide trip sweep. Controls X go. On one. Ready? Ready.
What's up guys, it's Pick'em with HuddleGG, and today we're looking at 5 of our favorite run concepts here in Madden 25, and we're going to start it off with the wide zone or the stretch concept. Now, when we are in pistol, you're going to see it called wide zone. If you're in single back, it's going to be called stretch. A formation we want to look for to run this out of is anything that is compressed or condensed like this wing flex close, where we have 2 tight ends to one side and 2 receivers to the other. And I'll show you why this is even more effective than a normal stretch call. Now, we can call this out of really any formation, but this formation will make it even more effective. Now, we're going to come out in wide zone here. And first of all, what we want to talk about a lot in today's video is how to attack the meta defenses, right? It's very important to understand what defenses you're going to face most, and we want to attack accordingly. So one of, if not the most popular defense in the game right now is this double mug. So when they set this up, they're going to crash their line down, and then they're going to put those 2 edge guys in zones. It's going to look something like this. Now, if you look at the defensive play art here, they're attacking the middle of our offensive line. They have 4 people rushing right at our center, so we don't want to run up the middle, right? And you're going to notice that a lot in today's video is we're not really attacking the middle with our run game this year, simply because of the defenses you're going to face most. That's where they're going to have it covered. We want to attack to the outside. So, second thing that we talked about is this formation, right? Now, when people run this double mug defense, a lot of times what they're going to do is they're going to bring the defender that's covering the running back, and that's going to be their user, and they're going to bring him down here into the box. You can see this is actually their outside corner when we come out in a formation like this, and this is going to make it even easier for us to run this play to the right side of the screen. What you'll see is when they bring this guy down here, we're just going to run this play as is. We don't have to do anything special, and we're going to have the opportunity to get some really positive yards here. And you can see that was an easy 5+ yards, and when we're running the ball, that is a very successful run play. So if we look at the replay here real quick, you can see that when they bring that user in there, we're just going to run out here, and he's going to be out leveraged, and there'll be times where he actually gets caught up as well. And if he gets caught up, that's going to give us the potential for some even bigger yardage. And you can see if our tight end would actually held the block here on the outside also, we could have possibly taken it for some more as well. But if we're getting 5 to 7 yards every run play, that is a very successful run for us. Now, some people do not always bring that user in. So what you may see people do is leave this guy out here to the right, and they may keep this guy over here as well, especially if we've ran this stretch play time and time again. But the great thing about this concept is we can simply flip this play by flicking the right stick to the left. And now we're going to be running this stretch or this wide zone to the left side of the screen, again, away from those extra defenders that you can see that are on the right. And you just want to read the numbers, right? If you feel like you have the numbers to the left, you can simply flick this to the left. And we have these 2 receivers in here tight. And what you can do as well is you can always motion this guy over, and there will be times if they've moved their users already, no one's going to motion with them, and we're going to be able to really create a nice run concept here to the left side of the screen. And you can see how we weren't even making contact with the defense until we're 8 to 10 yards down the field. So this is a very, very effective run concept. You can run this against any defense really, but it's going to be very, very effective against the double mug. The next concept we're going to talk about is going to be the quarterback zone. Now, this can be found out of a few different formations in the game, but we're going to be using it out of trips tight end here for today's video. Now, once again, this is very, very effective against the double mug meta. You can run this against other formations as well, but this attacks double mug extremely successfully. Now, what we want to do, again, if they are setting up that defense and they are going to crash down and they're going to put those 2 edge guys in zones and bring this user down, what we talked about, they're attacking the middle of our line, so we want to attack to the outside. If we look at our player here, you can see that we are attacking outside with this quarterback, almost like an off tackle with our quarterback here. Now, the reason why I love this play is we actually get an added blocker into the run concept because the running back can now block, right? So typically if we hand the ball off, the quarterback's not really doing anything. Here in this play, all 10 other players, obviously other than our quarterback who's keeping the ball, all 10 other players are going to be blocking for us. So what we want to do here is when we say hike, we're just going to run this to the outside. We're going to follow our blockers, and you can see we have the potential to take that for some easy yardage. Now, this is also going to work if they're in the nickel dog 3 buzz play as well. So it's not just mid blitz. So I'm going to come out and show you that. So if they are in nickel dog 3 buzz, that's going to essentially be the same thing for us. A lot of times people are going to show blitz, but they're still going to crash those lines or that line down, put those outside guys in zones. And a lot of times they'll use this guy here in this situation like this. We're just going to call this play again, quarterback zone. We're going to keep it here with our quarterback. We're going to follow our blockers, and we're going to be able to get ourselves easy yardage in the run game. This is one of the most effective run plays in the entire game, and it does a tremendous job at attacking the double mug meta. The next concept we're going to talk about is going to be the power read. Now, the Baltimore Ravens playbook has the most of these, but you can find them in other playbooks as well. And you can see here, we're going to use the one in normal Y off close for today's video. Now, when we come out on this play, this is a read option where we're going to have a read key defender, which you can see is the left side of the screen, defensive end. And what he does determines what we do. Do we hand it off or do we keep it with the quarterback? Now, this one is the opposite, essentially, of what we do on a normal read option. First of all, you can see that the read key is opposite of the running back. Where on a normal read option, he's going to be on the same side. And then secondly, the way we react to that defender is the opposite of what we're used to as well. If he stands up, we're going to actually keep it with the quarterback. If he crashes down, that's when we're going to hand it off. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like here. So first of all, if he plays the quarterback, so if he crashes down, that's going to tell us to hand it off. Now this year, they did switch how read options work. So to hand it off, you just say hike and it's going to automatically hand it off. So you don't have to do anything else to hand this ball off. But again, if we see that read icon defender there on the edge, if we see him crash down, we're just going to let it hand it off. And we're going to be able to use this as an outside zone to the outside here and get ourselves some easy yardage. Now, it looks a little intimidating handing this ball off because it looks like that defensive end is running right at us. But you can see that if we hand this ball off, he's actually going to attack the quarterback, okay? Again, our tell here is if he crashes down, we hand it off. And now we're going to be able to use this just to run to the outside. And like we talked about, against a lot of the meta formations you'll face this year, it's going to be a very effective run because, again, we're attacking to the outside. So this is something that you can definitely run against the double mug defense, the 3-3 cub, all of those, you can run this as well. Now, one more time, I'll just show you. Again, it does look a little nerve-wracking to hand that off. I'll do it one more time just to show you that he's not going to play the running back. He's going to play that quarterback. And we're going to be able to turn this into some positive yardage there. Now, the second part of this option play is if that guy stands up. Okay, so if that defensive end with that read icon or that R icon above his head stands up, that's going to tell us to pull it with the quarterback, which to pull it, you just want to push A after you've said hike. And now we're going to turn this in a quarterback power running to the left side. You can see that we have the right guard pulling as well. So what we're going to do here is if this guy does stand up, we're going to pull it with the quarterback. And now we've created a quarterback power and we can get some positive yardage there. So you can see that whether we hand it off to the running back or keep it with the quarterback, this is going to be a very effective run to frustrate your opponent. Our next concept is actually going to be an RPO, and it's going to be found in these 2x2 spread formations. And what we want to look for here is going to be RPO read bubble. Now, this is going to be something that's very effective against any nickel formation in the game. And we want to run this flip the vast majority of the time, and I'll show you why. Anytime we're running against a nickel defense, there's going to be one slot cornerback, right? So on this formation, it's going to be the left side of the field because that's where our slot receiver is. The slot receiver to the right is actually our tight end. So they're never going to align that way unless they have auto flip off and do it manually, but then we could just flip our play as well. But what you're going to see here is we're going to have this edge defender. It's an outside linebacker in nickel 3-3 cub here, but he's going to be the read icon on this play. And that tells us that he's never going to play the bubble. Okay, so regardless of what they do with that guy, he will not play the bubble. So we're just going to throw that bubble every single time we see a formation like this where we have that read key on that overhang defender. What you're going to see here is we're just going to say hike. We're going to throw this out here, and we're going to be able to pick up some easy yardage. Now, this is something that absolutely destroys too high anything nickel related. Double mug, 3-3 cub, nickel normal, it does not matter. It's going to really destroy these formations. Now, if we come out again, and let's say that, obviously, he was in a yellow zone there on that last play. So let's say that they man him up on the tight end and they pass commit, okay? So man him up and pass commit. It does not matter. I'm going to throw that every time I see that R icon above that player's head. So we're going to say hike here, and you're going to see he's not playing the bubble, and he never will because he's the read icon, which means he's going to play the read option portion of this play, which means he's going to play either the quarterback or the running back, okay? So even if he stands up, so let's do the same thing where we're going to man him up and we're going to pass commit. Let's say that we see that guy stand up right away. That's only going to tell us that he's playing the quarterback. We can still throw it every single time. So in this situation, if we see that guy stand up, we're still going to throw it. It does not matter. He's never going to play out here on this bubble, and that's going to be an easy read for us and an easy pickup. Now, the great thing about this play is you actually have the ability, if you want, where depending on how the defense reacts, we also have the option play here, right? We can either keep it with the quarterback or we can hand it off as well. So let's say that they're shifting their line this way. They're bringing this guy over here because they're really trying to defend that bubble because we've ran that a couple of times. We can just hand this off, and now it turns into an outside zone over here to this side, and we're able to pick up easy yardage there. And then vice versa, if we want to run with the quarterback, if they give us something that tells us we want to run with the quarterback. So let's say that this guy's down in here, and let's say that he is playing really aggressively towards the running back. That's going to tell us that we can actually keep this as well. So if you want, you can always pull this with the quarterback and keep it, and you're able to run for some easy yardage there. So this is a really, really awesome triple option play, essentially, where we can throw it to that bubble if we get the look we want, but we can also hand it off with an outside zone, which again, we talked about attacking to the outside, or we can keep it with the quarterback for some easy yards there also. The last concept we're going to talk about today is my absolute favorite in the game right now, and it's going to be the RPO read slot slide. Now, this is a really unique play that was just added this year, and it's in the Washington playbook, and it can be found in a couple of formations throughout the playbook, but my favorite is out of gun spread. Now, when we come out on this play, this is very, very effective against the meta as well, which again is a theme of today's video. Now, if they set up their double mug defense like they typically would, right? Something like this is something you'll see people run out of the Nickel Dog 3 Buzz. But what you're going to see on our offensive play art here is it's going to be similar to the play we just talked about with the RPO read bubble out of the gun spread looks. This is going to be an RPO read where we have the option to throw this flat or this screen to the right side to the wide receiver. Now, because he is coming from the left side of the screen, it really messes with people's alignments at time. Even when they're in man coverage, it's tough for that slot defender to get all the way across the formation. But it's similar in the last play as well, where if we get the look we want, where we have that read icon above the edge defender, there's no one really out there that we have to worry about outside of him. We're just going to throw this to the Y every single time. Okay, the great thing about this play, as we talked about before, you can hand it off or you can keep it with the quarterback as well. So you do have those options. But if we get the look we want, we're just going to say hike here. We're going to pull this with the quarterback, and we're going to throw this out to this flat defender, and we're going to follow our blockers for some easy yards. And this is very, very consistent. So I'll show it to you one more time. So if they set up their defense here, and we get the look that we want, right? Where we look at our player and we have that read icon over the edge defender, and we don't really have any other defenders to worry about to the right side of the screen. We're going to say hike, we're going to pull this, and we're just going to throw this because, again, that read defender is never going to play the flat. So that rep there was a beautiful example of that, where if we look at the replay, it looks like we may not want to throw this because of what this defender here does, right? So this defender stands up and he actually shuffles to the outside a couple of times. That just tells us that he's playing the quarterback. Okay, this does not mean that he's playing the flat. He will never play the flat if he has the R icon above his head. Similar to the play we just talked about with the bubble, we're just going to pull this and we're going to throw that every single time and pick up our easy yardage. Now, like we talked about in the last video as well, we do have the option to keep this with our quarterback or hand it off as well. So if we wanted to hand it off, obviously in a look like this, we wouldn't want to hand it off. But let's say that they are playing really aggressively down towards the running back and we see that edge defender crash down. You can say hike, you can pull this with the quarterback, and you can keep it and run here as well. So if you have the mobile quarterback, this is another option that you can use on this play. But this is another thing that's really going to put that defense into conflict, because we're going to be able to hand it off if we have the right look. We can keep it with the quarterback if we get the right look. Or most importantly, we can throw it to this flat screen to the right side of the screen, depending on how that defense aligns and plays to this offense for us.